Hello, hello, and welcome back. Today on the block we have Jonathan Oliveira. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm good. Hated the episode, but I'm good.
Hated the episode, but I'm
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Not what I wanted to happen, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We will talk about it. And if this is your first time on the block here with us at Reality Pop, please do us a big fat favor and subscribe because we're on our way to being your #1 spot for all things reality TV. So today we are talking about Big Brother Canada Season 9 episode. What are we, episode 13? Holy cow, we're starting to get in there.
Yeah.
And Jonathan didn't like this episode. So what are your overall thoughts? I think I know why you didn't like this episode, but what are your overall thoughts?
I mean, well, we were talking about last time how not smart people are playing, and that is continuing. And I thought people would wake up a little bit in this past, with the ghost HOH and whatnot, and yet it's still happening. And people even verbalize their mistakes and what they shouldn't do, yet they still do it. So I just don't understand. And maybe I'm missing stuff from the live feeds, but
Which mistakes did you notice that people were noticing but they didn't follow through with?
I mean, like, for instance, Rohan was sitting on the bed and talking about how he's sick of playing the boys' game and allowing them, like, they have people playing the game for them. They can just kind of sit back a little bit. And I'm like, exactly. And when you're in a position to make those changes and people aren't doing that, with both nominations and veto, it's like, why? Are you just going to get picked off one by one or attack each other until, Ty and Jed are the last two? I mean, by all means, that's your game, but that's very silly to me. So, and they talk about it. It's not like they can't see it. They talk about it, and they still don't do anything about it.
They still don't do anything about it. What did you think about the whole concept of having the hidden HOH, secret HOH?
Yeah, I loved it. I think that's something that is, again, like, new and exciting for the game, but still, it still has enough of the original game in it to kind of still make it Big Brother. You're not changing it too much. So yeah, I loved it. Unfortunately, I was hoping that between the two of them, like, oh, Tara, please win. Please win. I know what you're going to do. You're going to put the boys up. Please win. And then she didn't. And then I was like, oh, the one person who I'm not quite sure what she would do, but I had hope with Victoria. And I was like, okay. And then, of course, she puts up one of my people again in danger this week. So one after the other after the other.
I mean, I guess that's the way the cookie's going to crumble for you. So who do you have left then? Or most?
I have Austin and Rohan.
Gotcha.
I don't have any faith that I'm lasting longer than the next 2 weeks. But anyway.
Unless Rohan wins next week. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be winning this game, and I don't think he will be.
Well, for someone who claims that he, is very smart and can make certain moves and all this, that, and the other thing, I mean, not in today's episode, it didn't prove that. So,
are you not a fan of Rohan and the Ro Show anymore?
I mean, I like him enough as a person, fine, whatever. But if you're going to make those claims, you need to follow through. And I think although Victoria's kind of not playing the game that I want her to play this week, having said that, at least she follows through with what she's doing. And so although I'm, like, rooting against her in today's episode, I can appreciate that you're doing what you're doing, and, where Rohan was not. And so I don't understand. He's in a position where people are coming for him and he knows it. And why aren't you trying to keep people on your side, or making, like, even something simple, which I'm sure we can get in later, but when people are having the conversation with you, if you're going to use power veto or something along those lines, you just need to appease those people no matter what. And if up until that moment, if you are on the fence up until that moment, you can lie and you can just be like, yeah, absolutely, and then say afterwards or just before, yeah, I don't know if I can do it because of whatever. So it's like, you're going to piss that person off anyway. So it just doesn't make sense, kind of how things went down. But anyway, we'll take it step by step. But
Step by step. So it starts off the episode with the end of the nomination ceremony, and the typical Big Brother thing, which I personally find to be super annoying, is the whole hugs after people have been nominated. And it's, you kind of have to bite your tongue and just hug everybody and pretend like you're not super pissed off or hurt by it. But Austin couldn't do that. She immediately said she didn't want to be touched. How do
yeah.
you think you'd react in that situation? Do you think you'd allow people
I think no. I think you're allowed a moment to be emotional with stuff like that. They were just put on the slop as well. I would probably like, don't touch me, but I think I would go in there and be like, don't touch me, because I don't like being hugged. So I'm like, just let everyone know I don't like being touched. But and I'll cover those moments where I'm like, stay away from me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't blame someone, and I don't think people would really blame someone in that moment. You're like, yeah, that's tough. They needed a moment to themselves. Um, you know,
But I could also see people being like, oh, she's not really handling the block very well. Like, she looks like she'd be bitter. Like, let's get her out for sure.
well, she should be more social, and people need to stop pairing up to begin with. So I don't think anyone's done a great job with that stuff. But anyway, yeah, there's a million things they could have done better. A million every episode. I can pick them out. I can write a book about it. I'll publish it on Amazon after the season's over. But I mean, like, it's
like all their wrongdoings.
all their mistakes, like, and I'll give them a free copy each. But it's just like there's so many that one, to me, I was like, is small change compared to everything else, because in the long run, those connections, why were you put on the block in the beginning? Because you did not make Victoria feel comfortable, who you just took it for granted, because she even said it multiple times. They stopped speaking to me after I got out of power. And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. You need to be, especially people that you're playing with, you need to make sure that you're checking in and everything's good, and all those things. So,
And especially with Victoria, because Victoria, she, what we've seen anyways, and I would imagine, like, they spend 24 hours with her, that what she gets upset with is not being included in things, not feeling a part of things, not having people come and talk to her. Like, this is the reason why
Latoya went home because of it.
Exactly. And so she wants to be included. And so as soon as you don't include her, like, she feels on the outs and she wants to get back at you. And so, I mean, I know that they don't know that it's Victoria, but, like, I think that in general, they should be looking around and being like, hey, I should keep my relationships nurtured. And knowing how Victoria has been playing up until this point, it's just a good idea to keep her in our back pocket and make sure that she feels super comfortable at the time, because she is such a wild card kind of player making these big moves. Like, I want to keep my tabs on her for sure.
Yeah, and even if that's not reality, it's Victoria's reality. So that's all that matters, because she did go up to her at some point, sat on the bed, and she was like, "Do you want? Oh, now you want to speak to me?" I'm like, "Well, that's what she's trying to do. But if you're not letting her, you've already decided that, because she maybe didn't talk to you all that much for a couple of days. I'm not quite sure, but but that's the thing. It's, you need to make that person's reality what they need it to be, not your reality. You can't, like, outside world, you could be like, well, I called that person, they didn't pick up, so that's me reaching out, but I'm like, no, if that friend of yours feels like their friendship's being neglected or whatever, and you haven't really tried, it doesn't matter if you've called, texted, left a message, went over the house and dropped an envelope off with presents. If they don't feel it, then it doesn't exist in the Big Brother world. In real life, you could be like, listen, that's on you. Not in the Big Brother house. You need to be like, oh no, that it has to be on me. I need to convince you. I need to make that your reality. And these people are actually really bad at it. So as entertaining as the season is, they're just really bad at managing people.
Not good at all. Okay, so Natalie here has a hot take. Hi, Natalie. Is it possible there's no eviction tomorrow because of April Fool's Day and Victoria was not the head of household?
Natalie, don't do that to me. Don't get my hopes up. Don't do that to me.
What is the possibility of this? I think that that's a no. I mean, I feel like if that were the case, they might do that to the house guests, but I would think that Canada would be in on the joke. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I just think it would be something that would happen within like half a day or a couple hours type of a situation, a prank. But when people are putting their whole games on the line for, winning it, and like telling people certain things, and then at the end of it to be like, just kidding. I don't think that's, you know, I mean, like maybe
Oh,
someone doesn't gets another chance, and it's like a April Fool's, you don't go home. I mean, maybe, but I just don't think it's very likely.
I mean, that's so cruel.
I
Like
would
when
love it though.
I mean, that would be a good twist though, because I don't dislike anybody that's on the block. I don't want anybody to go home. I don't mind that Victoria still has to like, you know, keep her lie up and like she didn't get her targets out. Like, I mean, it would be interesting if they did that, but pretty cruel. Pretty
And
damn
I
cruel.
agree. And can I say, I think we talked about this either last week. No, we couldn't have last week. Must have been off air. But I hate the fact that there was no, like, she could just tell people or not tell people. Like, I thought it should have been, there should be penalties if you reveal that you're the secret HOH. But maybe there's not penalties because it's not real. Natalie, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I am looking forward to tomorrow just to see if they're going to do something for April Fools. But like knowing us, it's just going to be the feeds are down the whole day. Like that's what they'll do. Like I don't know if they'll do anything that would be that.
They'll call someone into the DR to play a prank on someone or something.
Right. That's a thing. Being like, oh my god, like so and so is coming back, or maybe they'll lie to have a lie like that. Latoya's coming back into the house. Canada voted for April Fool's Day. Something maybe I'm interested though. So both Braden and Austin are kind of murmuring about the fact that they feel as though it was a dirty move putting them on slop and nominating them. What do you think about this double dipping in punishments, we'll say, towards Braden and Austin?
You know, it's something that I would definitely do if I had targets and I didn't want, and I wanted to make them weaker, frustrated, or more flustered with the veto competition. So, yeah, I absolutely would do that. I mean, is it kind of dirty? Yeah, it's dirty. It depends on how you want to play. I would play dirty, absolutely. So,
Especially if you're secret, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It's your power, so you can do that. You can do whatever's within your right. You can do it. I don't like people could say what they want to say, but I'm like, if that's, you know, given to you that power, then that's yours, and you can do whatever you like. And whether you like it or don't, I mean, so be it. But yeah, it's kind of dirty. I agree.
but it's kind of like it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Like, they're not the first one that the head of household ever did that to. I mean, it's pretty standard. Like, if you're on the outs and you're going to be going up, sometimes they just don't want to make new enemies out of other people. So they might as well make you guys mad because you're already going to be mad. Who cares? Now, a lot of people have been speculating that Victoria could have played this week a little bit better, saying that if she had maybe exposed that she had the slot pass, then people would automatically not think that she was the head of household, and then not put herself on the block might have been a way for her to conceal it a little bit better. Because Jed, Ty, and Beth are pretty sure that it was Victoria. I'm not sure where Tina and Tara stand. And Rohan, Austin, and Braden all still think it's Ty.
Yeah. I mean, they're easily fooled because her kind of, you know, clinching her pearls 10 minutes after it happened, walking up to the room and being like, you know, I'm like, that's a reactionary face. That's not something you hold on to. So, I mean, anyone with kind of any study of how people act, you know, or behave or anything like that would instantly pick up on that. So it was very bad. I mean, the facial reactions were believable, but how they were being done when they were being done wasn't to me. So I think she's a good liar. It's just she just didn't play her cards right in that sense. And yeah, I think she did. She's like, oh, people would expect me to do this, but I'm going to do that. I'm like, no, you don't have a good read on the house because people would expect you to do. It's like people would expect me to do A, so I'm going to do B. I'm like, no, but people would expect you obviously not to do A because it would be too obvious. So don't do B either, and probably don't do C. Probably do D. You know what I mean? Like if your concern is being found out. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why she's targeting them. She really needs to pick she needs to come up with a long-term plan and how she's going to get to the finals. And I don't see, you know, if her game is like, I'm just going to break up teams, that's not a plan. That's like, half-assed idea that you just write down on paper and you haven't put anything into motion. So,
Well, she's been calling herself to be like the best player that ever played and that she's so amazing. Do you not agree with this sentiment, Jonathan?
I mean, it's not facts, so it's not. Sorry.
Well,
I
why,
mean,
why,
and you can't assess that for yourself when you're in the house anyway. It would be impossible to. It's not up to you to assess anyway. So it's like no. And you know what? Make it to the end and win, and then maybe you have a leg to stand on. But when you're sitting there week 4 or 5, whatever it is, and you're kind of making these plays and you're nowhere near the end, I mean, you can't say that.
best player that ever played? Like, not sure about that. Who do you think is playing at this point the best game in the house?
Still Jed and Ty because of the fact that I said earlier, like they have people playing the game for them and protecting them, and they don't have to do much. Like he didn't have to win, you know, the HOH to kind of, or neither of them did, for it to go their way. So, and I do think that when people attack them, they'll be upset with Riley. Come here, my dog's being loud. But they'll be upset with. They know that they'll be upset with like each other, so they'll probably go after Beth first. So they even have like or Keither. So it's like they have some shields and they have, people around them that will cushion them. I mean, I think they're in the best position.
Yes, but they do have people that are still coming for them. So I do think that Tina and Tara will both target them. I do believe Rohan will, and Braden also will. So half the house is still most likely putting the combination of those three people up on the block. So
I mean, we would hope, but then at the same time, it didn't happen this week, and they didn't win. So it's like, if the other people can't win and they're never HOH, then they'll never be in that position to make those decisions.
That's true. I mean, I can definitely see this is the time where Jed wins an HOH or Ty wins an HOH.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely do. Definitely do for a win. Because, like, it's not been on their side specifically. They've benefited, of course, from the head of households that it has been, because they haven't been the targets. And I do think that they're very capable of winning. Who's that? Hello, star of the show.
He's been an absolute demon today.
Imagine you can go on Big Brother and everybody can bring their pets with them. So part of it, the game would be about like maneuvering and dealing with other people's animals as well.
Yeah, he would not get along with any of them. So
I think Rylan would. He seems
he attacked like 3 dogs today already.
And Rylan
ran away from others. It's a nightmare. He's my nightmare.
He's still very cute. So even Jed thinks that in the diary room, he was saying that he feels as though it was a missed opportunity not to be putting up him and Ty.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They are even recognizing this. And I don't think that they're even that strategic, but for them to be saying that, like, oh, wow, I really didn't think, I thought that we were going up for sure, means that it wasn't the right move for Victoria. So do you think then that Ty and Jed would have been the best play for Victoria as the secret HOH?
100%. You need to break them up. And in fact, it would probably make the other person a lot stronger, because people would be like, oh, they're broken up now. So they'd be going after all the other, that saves you some weeks, because they'd be going after all the other duos and whatnot. But, absolutely, especially because they're more than a duo. They're a trio with Beth, and then some, because they have other people as well. So, 100%. If I was HOH, I would absolutely be putting them both up. And it doesn't need to be a ghost HOH or whatever. It could be straight, like, I'm putting you up. So.
So Kiefer's talking to Victoria, and he's like, deny. No matter what, and people are starting to figure out that it could possibly be Victoria. So he's giving her kind of a heads up that she needs to keep on lying. Now, I know you don't think that she should have been able to tell anybody, but do you think it was a good idea for her to have told Kiefer?
No. Deny, absolutely. And she should have done that with absolutely everyone. And right till the end. I mean, they can, you're always going to be able to narrow it down based on what's happening. Mm-hmm. And especially if the veto's used, then a third person goes up. I mean, to me, if I didn't want people finding out, I would really kind of make it just kind of such an oddball random choice that probably doesn't make sense, to kind of throw people off my scent. But at the same time, No, I wouldn't have told a soul. Not a soul.
I mean, I would love to say that I wouldn't have told a soul, but like, I don't even know if I would have been a good liar at that, because I don't know how much time you had to, like, from when the competition is over to when you had to start talking to people. Like, I would probably have like a slight smile on my face the whole time. I don't know if I could conceal that kind of lie in front of people. I don't know. Jonathan's like, I could.
Yeah, well, no, I definitely could. But her only tell for me, because you're right, you didn't see how much time, and I actually wondered if they took them in one by one individually, and separated them for a while. But who knows? But same with the Wendy's. I was like, when you're eating Wendy's, I'm like, you're gonna smell that on someone's breath.
I thought, I'm like, are you gonna stink like fast food in like
Yeah,
hot boxed diary room? Like,
yeah. So I'm like, I wonder how they're going to do that. And I'm like, do they, separate them for a while and all that kind of stuff, bring them like one by one and keep them there for like 45 minutes? And I don't know. I'm like, you're gonna be like, someone just had Wendy's in here. It just came out. And me, me and my fast food, I'd be like, that was a double cheese. Like, I'd be like, medium frosty. Like I would know exactly what was ordered. But so yeah, it didn't make sense. But her big giveaway is when people are lying like that, and it's hard to keep that excitement in, is that when they're given a moment for like a light joke or something along those lines, and they overdo the laugh. They really like, oh, this is the moment that I can let it out, and they overdo it. And she did it in the kitchen. And so, I mean, it's a good setup for people too, is give them a moment to, like, a light-hearted moment to laugh at something. And if they really go over the line with it,
you're like,
there's your liar right there.
and she smells like Wendy's.
And I can smell the large fries. So
I do really wonder though, like, if anybody noticed anything. They just haven't said anything or said anything to the diary room.
yeah, but like, you have a little lettuce in your teeth right there. Like, what?
I don't know. Did she go and change her clothes? Because, like, legit though, like, what I was totally thinking is, like, fast food really sticks to the clothes and the body. Like, you smell it in your hair. Like, I know if somebody's had McDonald's, I know it. Like, I can tell. Like, it's on them. It's a layer.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was crazy. I'm like, you're gonna have to get her to go brush your teeth, some mouthwash,
probably shower and wash your hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, you're gonna have to, like, decontaminate like everybody to go through that process. So that would be crazy to me. I wouldn't be eating it. I'd be like, no. I'm like, I can't eat this. It would be too much of a giveaway.
Well, and like, that's more of a giveaway that, like, they can't play in the head of household, or they can play in the head of household next week, and like all these other, or they can play in the veto if they're chosen. Like, those are all big. Like, I think the fries and the McWendy's is a bigger giveaway than even those two things. Like, so just showing that, like, it's.
Yeah. And where was everyone else? Like, locked in outside, and they
were
outside.
I don't know,
one by one.
And so maybe
she's just walking around there like it was, Home Alone right there, and she had no one else to, like, no windows or anything. I was like, oh, they've shut it down and let people in for like an hour one by one. Maybe.
I wouldn't totally smell the Wendy's. Like, I need to know more about that. So maybe we can get Austin to answer that question. I mean, whoever is out this week. Okay, so Natalie. Okay, so this is something that's happened on the feeds. I don't know if they'll end up showing it. So there was some neck kissing between Braden and Ty. Is Ty doing this for his advantage in the game, like Kevin Martin did? So what do you think about that? So what I've heard, I haven't actually seen it personally, but maybe there was like kind of like a little cuddle and like a little like neck kissing or whatnot. I'm not sure who was doing the kissing and who
wasn't there like a spin the bottle, or Braden like kissed, who did he kiss?
That was Jed. He kissed Jed there.
He kissed Jed. I was like, I know he kissed a guy in the house, but I couldn't remember who it was. But okay, so I mean, I think people do it just for whatever. And like, people are open, and you don't know what their Kinsey scale is. And it's like, it's like Zach, who then came out as whatever he came out with years later. So it's, and him and Frankie were having a good time. But it's, I mean, I definitely think he's using it for his advantage in the game. I mean, I do. What's the opposite? What's the thing other than that? It's like romantic? No.
I don't think that he wants to pursue a relationship with Braden. I do feel as though he's a very handsome man. He's very kind. I think he's open-minded and like isn't uncomfortable by having affections with another man. And I think that he doesn't want to make Brayden maybe feel uncomfortable. Like he wants him to feel comfortable cuddling or whatever with him. So I think that
And like, I went to university. You would be astonished what a lot of straight men do in, you know what I mean, like with people their age, and they're just having fun and partying and all that stuff. So I mean, I just think it's like, yeah, let's be playful with people and get them to like me. And I think it was kind of one of those moments.
and yeah, I think too, like
Intimidating things.
Brayden is going to be the one that ends up staying. It would be good for Ty to have Brayden on his side because Brayden is somebody that was going to be coming for Ty and Jed. And so maybe that won't happen. Maybe we'll be Jed and Beth instead. And if Ty's on the block, maybe he has Brayden's vote now. So I do
Well,
think, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Ty and Jed definitely need to be playing that game already. Like eventually when they go on the block together, you need to be that person who even subconsciously people are like, oh, I want to keep this person over this person. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to voice it. And how you do that is by being closer to them, by sharing those little moments and whatnot. So people will naturally want to keep you over that other person. And they have to start playing that game. I mean, they should have been weeks ago already when they're like, oh, we're going to be a target. I need to, without campaigning or anything crazy like that or making people promise me stuff, I need to be in people's favor over this other person.
Of course. Absolutely. Like, especially since there's so many duos, you have to be one of the duos. You got to stay. And so, I mean, I don't think any of the duos are really doing that. Brayden, just by default, him being a little bit more social than Austin is, and Austin being more competitive. So Brayden
And
is
with
more like,
Kyle and Rohan, it was like because Rohan won. So
yeah. I mean, I think Kyle was originally Kiefer's target because because Kyle was more likable in the house and seemingly more capable of winning stuff, but that Rohan has proven that differently. But yeah, between Tina and Tara, neither of them are really campaigning. I think people would keep Tina over Tara, but
yeah,
maybe not if they're playing strategic because like Tina.
well, they have that Sunsetters. You know, or I know she's like straight from it, but you know, Tina has that connection with all of them, and Tina started off, you know, hidden from the rest of the cast with Kiefer. So, I mean, there's a lot of connections there where Tara doesn't have those connections. So, I definitely think Tina would stay over Tara.
And at this point, I think that Ty might be able to pull out staying over Jed. Well, maybe not this week now because they all think that he's the secret HOH, but I do think, though, that people prefer Ty to be around, and they also think that Jed is more strategic. So, and Jed is more connected to Beth, as we also find out a little bit later. I know you're not a big fan of showmances. I don't think you like Beth either. So, what do you think about this moment in the storage room where?
You know, have 60 seconds of it on the show and be done with it. I'm fine with it. So, it's not much of anything seemingly, and it's barely talked about on the show. And that's the way I like it. I don't want to hear about it unless it's part of gameplay. I don't want to. I don't want to really hear about it all that much. But I do think it's going to come into play in future episodes because I do think that when you're like, oh, he's connected to Beth and he's connected to this person and this person, that's probably someone who is more dangerous. You know, if they put the duo up like Ty and Jed, they're going to be like, oh, they're going to be thinking, well, who's kissing on Beth? You know what I mean? And who's right. So that person's going to. I mean, she might flip flop and change her mind between them because she's already done it once. But so you know, it might be the other one next week. Who knows? But yeah, they showed enough of it for me to get it and know that it's there. Plant those seeds. And if it comes up later on, then they'll probably air a lot more of it. I'm fine with that if that's part of the game.
Well, it did come into play with a segment. So the burning questions that the audience has been asking them, and they are being told to do some TikToks responding to some of these questions. Were there any questions there that you were really looking to hear the answers for, or do you care about this segment at all, or thoughts?
I don't really care about this segment. I think it's one of those like cheesier grabs that they do that Big Brother Canada kind of does that just doesn't work with me. you know, it's have something more iconic, come up with something more original, and just like little like questions from Canada, and you have to film it. I'm like, I don't know. Something about seeing all of the house guests walk around the Big Brother house with cell phones kind of like threw me too. It was
It's
like a
true.
weird visual.
It's so true. They never have phones in there. It's kind of like more of a Love Island thing when they're like, I got a text.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
it was
Big
so
Brother.
weird.
They don't have anything. So BB, before we get off the topic of Beth, wants to know, is this the first time they showed Beth kissing? I think so. I haven't seen it. And when Jed went in for the kiss, I literally screamed. I was like, ah! Like, I was like,
No, they showed her kissing someone like near the beginning when they first started talking about it. Yeah,
like a smoochy
I,
smoochy or like a peck?
like a peck or whatever. Maybe it was like a nighttime thing or something, but it was definitely once before, because this is the second time that I'm seeing it, and I don't watch live feeds.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think it was. I think it was in a bed type of a situation or a couch or something. I mean,
Was
yeah,
it
I
with
thought it
was it with Ty? I mean, I think she's lying because I think Ty had to have been the better kisser. And I feel like she's also even said that Ty was the better kisser on the feeds. But if she's in more relationship with Jed, like right now, like I guess she has to say that Jed's a better kisser. But what
okay, but you know the thing is like, I don't know. Is there? I don't know. With kissing, it's like there are bad kissers and then there's good kissers. But like, if they're both good kissers, I mean, for me, I'm like, I wouldn't have like oh, you're a 7.5 and you're an 8.2. I would just be like, yeah, there's been bad ones and there's been great ones. And I mean, I don't know. I don't like, I kind of feel I'm like, when people say that, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, is it real? Like, you might have enjoyed both, but you know,
well, I have to say that
you have multiple levels of kissers. Like,
yeah.
I don't, apparently.
There's
I have like good or bad, and that's it.
definitely bad, but I guess I judge good personally as if I get like body tingles and like it's all like kind of, magical. But there have been good kisses that are not magical. So like I put magic, like we'll say 10, and then good kisses would be like an 8 or 8.5. Like it works, but like I'm not like tingly. And then there's obviously just bad with people just like with their tongues going like something weird, and you're just like, well, get out of here.
Okay, so what's your bad kissers? Tongue? That's
Well,
going
it's like
all the while they don't know what to do
a
with it.
weird like pointy tongue that circles or something. People are so
Okay.
gross.
And then what else? Is there another like bad technique that you don't like?
Too wet. Depend. I
Too
mean,
wet.
too wet.
Too
Too
wet.
wet.
You want them having a dry mouth or like
No, but like if
slobbery?
he's like slimy on your face, like I don't know. I've just had a bad super wet ones, but it just could be because the kiss wasn't good. I wasn't into like the wet.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be into the person to make it good, right? But it's like, okay, I would say, you know what, like a cold mouth. Have you ever kissed like a cold, like inside's cold, and you're like, this is supposed to be warm,
Well, I mean, because
and that's weird. What's that?
because maybe we're like playing around with ice.
I don't know, but I'm just like, a cold mouth that would throw me off,
That's
and
weird. How is a mouth cold if there's no ice involved?
that's what I'm saying. So I don't understand how someone but it's kind of gross. And then the other one would be just someone who doesn't know what to kiss, and it's kind of like, like it's I don't want to be graphics here, but it's like like a top lip, bottom lip, top lip, bottom lip, top lip, bottom lip, top lip, bottom lip, and you're like, what are we doing? So someone who's just like not working within the passion of the moment. Anyway, off topic, but okay, I was curious.
Well, keeping on that topic though. So I do want to share with you. Do you know Tom Totteroff? He's an acting coach.
Totteroff, no, local?
He's an acting coach. I don't know. He's from the States. I don't remember where, but he used to travel around and do like workshops. And so I've taken a couple of his workshops when I was living in Montreal. And one thing that he said that sticks to me to this very day is, if the kiss ain't great, legs don't separate. And I'm like, yes, you are correct. You are right. And so that is also my bar to whether or not a kiss is good, because if I'm not interested in going any further, it's because the kiss, it just wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of everything. Like, you have to be into the person to make the kiss good,
And they have to be able to dance.
Kiss needs to be good in order for other things to happen. So yeah.
So that's my motto. I share it all the time. If the kiss ain't great, legs don't separate. Exactly. Right, B-Bean? Like, I guess I want everybody to test it now.
B-Bean was like a question mark at the end.
Pardon me?
That's a question mark at the end.
No,
If the
but
kiss ain't great, the legs don't separate?
It's fact. I think it's fact. It just doesn't work.
Personal preference, whatever you want.
Hi, Lana! Yay! How are you? Sloppy kisses are the worst. Yes, unless
Who are you
it's
kissing up? What are they kissing your chin, or what are they doing? Like, what is this? Sloppy kisses.
I don't know. We need to maybe. Okay, did you watch The Bachelor this season?
No, I don't watch.
Okay, well, The Bachelor was like being ragged on by all the fans because he looked like he was a terrible kisser, because like he would just like kind of like go in with his mouth open, like and then like, but then he kept his eyes open the whole time. Like, it's just bad. It's just bad. So it was heard by some of the people in the house that he wasn't a great kisser. So that might be there. Yes, BB. Do I like rubbing feet? Like in
Hold
a bed?
on. What kind of? This is about Big Brother. What kind of talk is this right now?
Natalie, what do you mean? Like in the bed? Like while you're kissing? Like what do you mean?
Where are we going with this?
Am I missing something? Did I forget something on the feet? Was there feet rubbing?
I don't remember any feet rubbing.
Not on the episode, at least.
I'm not a foot person, though.
I figured that you would be.
No. I have great feet, and so people don't live up to it. You know, most people's feet are disgusting.
Disgusting.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
So you wouldn't suck on a toe?
Oh no, that's no. I'm not doing that. That's gross.
What if like they're really good looking and they had nice feet?
No. Can't make me do anything I don't want.
I know. Okay, so question though. So Victoria comes in to talk to Austin and Brayden, and they're kind of speculating who they think it is, and they think it's Ty. And then Rohan says to Vic, like, well, people are thinking that it was you, and Vic does protest too much, in my opinion. Like, she's doing way too much, like you've already pointed out. She's like basically getting mad at them, being like, well, you just better take me out of the equation because like it's absolutely not me. And then she starts pushing it on to Beth. Now, what do you think of how she's been reacting? I know that you already said that, you know, she laughs a little bit too loudly, which is a dead giveaway. What about here?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. It's like, if it's not you, you wouldn't feel the need to say it's not you so much. You would just be like, that's ridiculous, and like maybe talk about who it might be instead, or just be dismissive of it. You wouldn't feel the need to be like, oh, it's definitely not me. I'll swear on what, like, it's doing too much. So you know how they always feel like liars just give you too much detail and talk too much. It's true. It's the same thing.
Back to feet. Lana says, no feet ever. I detest feet play. Hilarious. Chantel, you're going to have to change your title of this feed.
And rating. It's going to be like 18 plus. You need to sign in to like.
I mean, that could be interesting, having a Big Brother legit after dark stream. Talking about all the feet play and the neck nuzzling and the smoochy thruple stuff. I don't know.
I'm not going to be on that.
Jonathan.
You get JoJo back on here.
So, wait, what's it? Okay, so they keep on talking about it being such a dirty move. It's not a dirty move to me. Like, it seems very obvious. They're a duo. She's strong. Like, it's not really that dirty of a move to put them up. Why are they so bent out of shape? They haven't really done anything to prevent them from being put up.
I just think they realize it's a stupid move. Like, it's just not who goes after. I mean, Austin's the stronger person for sure, but it seems like a weird week when there's so much more bigger targets. It's odd, and I will give them that they're playing with such a unique season. with a lot of these twists and teams and now ghost HOH. Like it's very difficult to navigate. So I think they're maybe just using the wrong word, but they're just, when you're going to talk about it, and you're probably asked 100 times about it in the DR, you're going to be like, yeah, I was put on slop and now I get this, like, F them kind of a thing. So I get it.
So the veto picks are Victoria, Ty, and Rohan. And so this is a pretty good pick for Austin and Brayden. So they think, because they feel as though Rohan is going to use, well, he said he's going to use the veto on them. And
Several
Victoria
times.
also said that she was going to use the veto if she were to win on them. So do you think that they should have doubled down so hard about that? And on the feeds, Rohan was even suggesting that they throw the veto to him.
Yeah, I think most people would have, they would fulfill what they're saying that they're going to fulfill to them in that situation. So I think they handled it as they should have. Like, just tell us if you're not, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. If you win it, you'd use it, right? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, he even said, he's like, these are my closest allies. I don't live in that world where you wouldn't take one of your closest allies off the block, especially one who is, can win things. I mean, as Victoria would say, and it said at one point in the episode, well, it's going to be you and, Austin against the rest of the house. And I'm like, well, it's going to be you against the rest of the house if you don't do it. So, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't think it's well thought out. Ugh, I'm so frustrated with them.
Exactly. Like, for me, like, I don't think I've ever not used a veto that I've won in any of the games that I've played. I've always allowed it to be advantageous for me. Unless, like, it's like my ally putting somebody up, I would be like, okay, no, we're not taking it up. But for the most part, like, you want to use that power to keep your power in the house. And he knows now that, like, if he doesn't, one of his allies will be going home for sure. Who cares about saving face in the house at this point? Because you're just losing allies one after the other. I definitely think that it was a mistake to.
And you buy time. Like, things can happen in days. So it's like, if you take one of your allies off the block, you don't know what's going to happen in the next day or two. Something crazy can happen and make a bigger target of whoever gets put on the block. So, but also with, he's not really protecting anyone if he were to win it. So, like, why wouldn't you use it?
Well, and it's not like he had to make a promise to anybody because it's in secret. So you could just be like, I mean, I don't know who the secret HOH is. But I guess what really ended up happening is because Victoria took the information that Brayden and Austin were talking about wanting
to it.
Wanting Tara to maybe be the replacement nominee when she came down off the block. And so Victoria, because she doesn't want the nominations to change, she went directly to Tina and Tara and pitched that, and it just obviously is going to spread like wildfire to put some fear into Rohan, because Rohan also doesn't want, I don't think, Tina and Tara going up. And if he uses it with that knowledge of knowing that they would be Tina and Tara, or Tara would be put up instead, I can see them being pissed that they would be risking their life in the game and make him an enemy to them. So,
well, what a silly move for her to talk in front of Victoria like that, because the last thing you want to do is go to someone who loves making big moves and is kind of in the middle of the house, because that middle of the house person wants to pit people against each other. So why would you give them any fuel for the fire? That's the last thing I would be doing, is going and telling someone in the middle of the house, like, hey, I would go after this person, or this thing should happen, or maybe this person could go out. No, you already have someone to tell that. You have Brayden to tell that. Keep it between you two. That's it.
I think
only expose kind of targets if you need to. Why are you talking about this? Like,
because
it's crazy.
They think the oddballs are a thing, and that Victoria and Rohan are their people, and they're trying to keep all their people together. So I understand the mistake here. I totally get it. It's just it's unfortunate that they aren't able to see how
that's too big of a group to bring targets up with. You don't do that. So, and at the very least, like, oh, I heard, this person's name brought up or something. I don't know.
So BB's saying that this season seems to be filled with broken promises with no repercussions. Do you agree with this?
I'm just trying to remember what the other broken promises have been.
Well, I mean, I guess the one being like the Latoya's not the target, and Latoya's not going home, and Victoria.
Well, that was like a purposeful lie to get her out. So I understand what that was happening. The repercussions. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting way of thinking of it, but I don't think of it necessarily as that way. Because I think you do break your word to get certain things farther along the game. I just don't think they're playing very well. And
I think that's what it is. I think
it will catch up to them.
Instead of it being needing to have repercussions, it's like they're playing really poorly and they're not even recognizing how badly that they're playing. So they think that they're, like Victoria especially, thinks they're playing this masterful game when it's just really she's getting lucky that the right person is winning and she didn't go up on the block. Because pretty much anybody else that would have won last week, Victoria would have been up on the block, and I would be very shocked if she was able to get the votes to stay in the house. So I think it's that...
and she's won HOH twice now, so it's like she's protected herself like 40% of the time or whatever.
100%. Okay, so you have been very harsh on the competition so far this season, the ones that you like and the ones that you don't like. What do you think about the BBCan condo veto competition?
Good. Liked it. I have comments. So it's so funny because Survivor has this too, where essentially like they have this like task in the beginning, which was putting those planks on, and it almost doesn't matter if you're good at them or not. I mean, because more or less people finish them roughly around the same time. And Survivor will do this where they have all these like obstacle courses and you do this, that, and the other thing. And then when you get to the end, it's this puzzle, which is really the challenge. So it's like everything before it gives you maybe a slight advantage or not. But I liked it. I would have done horrifically. I was given a 3D Big Ben puzzle when I was like 12 or 13, and it's still at my grandparents' house. I was never able to put a piece of it together.
You're so good at puzzles.
I'm great at puzzles, and I've proven myself in many competitions online that we play and whatnot, and I'm very good at many other things like that and logic stuff. But 3D puzzle for some reason, I mean, I haven't tried it in 15 years, but 3D puzzle, it was not my jam. So I was like, I would be struggling, I think.
I need to buy one to practice because I don't remember if I'm good at those or not. Like I can do the like the square, like where you have to put the square back together. I can do those type of puzzles. So maybe I don't know. I'm gonna buy one.
I'm like in all the online competitions, whenever there's been a jigsaw puzzle, I always won it. So it's like jigsaws or any of those pieces. There was something else too, House on Haunted Hill, that we had to do where we're lining up the color things. I solved that for my team as well. So I mean, like, I'm always doing those puzzles. I'm always the puzzle person, but 3D puzzle, I have no faith in myself for that. So I mean, but I thought it was good. It was a good challenge, and I thought it was interesting. And
so why do you think that Brayden wasn't able to get the planks down in the beginning?
I was like, sweetheart, are we looking at where the holes are? And
okay. It was just
are you counting where they are and how many there are? And he wasn't, because it was showing close-ups and it wasn't right. I'm like, maybe it was a perception thing, like he couldn't tell. I don't know why that wasn't clicking for that poor guy.
BB had a flashback of Caitlin Herman. I mean,
and Caitlin should have had that.
That was mortifying because at that point I was rooting for Caitlin to stay.
I think they wanted her to. Like, I think it was like production. Yeah.
Puzzle. You'd have been able to do that one. It was 3D, kind of.
I mean, again, no faith in myself, but I think production wanted Caitlin to win, and it was one of those moments where, and Rohan did a great job. I think everyone else was still kind of struggling with it. So, and he was leaps ahead. So, yeah. I
couldn't tell though at the end. Did they show like what stages people were in, or did they?
I was trying to catch glimpses when they would show some of those establishing shots, and I don't think people were very close. Like you would cut to, especially when you're cutting to people like, oh, I got it. Like that's always a fake. You know what I mean? Like, so no, I don't think people were very close at all because they would show it if they were.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's really true. I thought that was a pretty good competition, like putting the planks down first and then solving a 3D puzzle. I think that it was really helpful that they'd had two sides. I think that that made it actually easier to be able to kind of decipher, like at least you know what's going to be going on one way or the other. Like you don't know if it's like 2 on one side or 2 on the other.
Yeah.
So I think that was very helpful for it to be two-sided.
Yeah, I agree. And with those balconies lining them up and stuff. But I also liked about this competition that it had kind of a twofold component. Whereas, like, if you're a more athletic type of a person who's probably not great at puzzles, I mean, it's stereotypical, but it does happen in the challenge, as you know, we see that a lot. Then you would do well in the planks, but struggle with the puzzle. But if you are more of a puzzle person, you might struggle with the planks, but then do better with the puzzle. So there are obstacles to overcome no matter kind of which side you're coming from. So I like that element to it. And I wish more games had, some are just like athletic and it's like, okay, who's kind of going to win this or who's likely to. So.
Yeah, this was definitely Survivor-esque with a BB twist. I enjoyed it. I thought it was winnable for anybody. And it moved by pretty quickly. Rohan, he thinks that he gets it, and he had one of the balconies or one of the pieces were incorrect. So he had to fix that, and that could have actually really cost him, but he was able to kind of keep the puzzle intact, remove or fix the piece, and then replace the top bit. So I was proud of him. I thought he did a good job. He was really fast. He didn't stress out. And so I thought he did a good job and he won. So do you think that Rocho Let's Go is going to be on t-shirts now?
Second veto competition in a row he won. Rocho Let's Go. I mean, if he makes them for his family, then they will be, but who's gonna wear that? I don't wear any merch. I don't wear merch.
He's gonna start a podcast. It's gonna be the Rocho, and he's gonna be Let's Go. Nope, you're not feeling it.
No, I don't wear merch. No, thank you.
So this is something you're probably also not feeling. Natalie wants to know what you think here. Will Austin and Kyle date after she gets evicted on Thursday?
No, first of all, I really like Kyle and I really like Austin, and they're both on my team, so I picked them for a reason. And I hope they do because I actually like them as a couple. So there you go. I'm rooting for them.
Whoa. Okay, so Kyle is in what? Alberta, and then
I don't know where their hometowns are. I forget.
She's in like Richmond Hill, maybe, or Markham. She's in like Northern Ontario. Not Northern, but like North GTA.
Yeah, Richmond Hill's only like 45 minutes north. And he's where? Like, different province?
Maybe he's in Alberta. I think.
I mean, no, probably not going to happen.
I don't think so either. But maybe like they'll start like flirting around.
If they were like in all season together and like fell in love in the house but after like a little bit over a month now. Or just a month.
I can see him though coming to visit Toronto because there's a lot of BB alumni that live in Toronto, so I can see him being ingratiated in the culture of Big Brother. And so like, what's his name? Poutine Poppy's here and Jamar and Min Lee and
yeah, but I don't really think but I don't really think that Kyle is that person who really cares all that much about it. I don't know.
Isn't he stupid?
I don't know, but he didn't seem like someone who was that enthusiastic about, meeting past contestants or anything like that.
Not sure Austin's dad would approve. Why is this, BB? And I don't remember her father being strict. Or is he strict and he wouldn't let her date?
What's wrong with Kyle? Kyle didn't I thought he came off nice on the show, like nicely and whatnot. I didn't think
to her, but I didn't think he came off as a great guy, really.
You didn't? I do, but we have different tastes in people.
It really bothered me that pantry scene. It really tainted my.
you can't. I don't judge people by emotional 2 minutes of someone's life when they're not. I think it looked a lot worse, and it probably didn't feel great in the moment. But it's like to recognize that when that happens, it's probably something you think about afterwards. You're like, that wasn't probably the best way to handle things, but I don't judge people based on that, and I didn't think it was that terrible to begin with.
That I didn't. It bothered me, and then also how he speaks about Jed and Ty kind of bother me. Like there's just like both him and Ro have this condescending tone that I find irritating, and so
I don't see it, but I probably have the same tone, but I don't see it. I don't see it.
It could be because it could be a male and female thing. I'm not sure, but there's just something about how they speak about them that I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, sorry, just bleep that. Okay, I thought that Austin never had a boyfriend due to her dad's strictness from her interview. You know, I know that she never had a boyfriend. I couldn't remember if it was a strictness. And so, yeah, you're actually right. That's probably the reason behind that. I don't know if Kyle would be the first guy that Austin brings home, though. So I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to date. I think he's going to want to, but I don't think that they will.
If they're both in the same city or close by, but I don't think so either.
Negative. So now that Rohan has won the veto, of course he's going to be using it on either Brayden or Austin. So they're in the bathroom, and basically Austin is super excited because her closest ally, or next to Brayden, has won this veto. And he kind of says, like, there might be a reason for me not to use it, and kind of put that out there that it's a possibility.
That was a mistake for them. They needed to be like jumping up and down and make it so that he would feel like he was devastating them if he wasn't using it. So them giving him a little bit of an out, like, wait, is there a chance you're not going to use it? That's a mistake. I was like, you need to be celebrating. You know, they do the little, like, you know, crazy when they're in the room together and no one else is around. I'm like, that's what you need to be doing with him. And sorry, I live in downtown Toronto, so you'll hear sirens every 5 minutes. But and so you know, and they didn't, and they gave him that out, and I was like, oh my god, number like 92, you know, mistake of the episode that I'm just seeing. I'm like, why are you acting like this? Don't give that person that opportunity. So
I totally agree with you here. And they didn't do anything even better. Like the one thing that Austin did that was kind of good was that she put on the waterworks and the tears. I think that she probably had those tears in her because she does feel a little bit upset for the fact that she's nominated and stuff. So I don't think it was all fake tears. I think it was just her allowing herself to let people see the tears that she was feeling.
It wasn't that many tears, but it was like with her like utility gloves on. I'm like, is there something there? I don't know that there is.
So like, I mean, that was like, you know, good to play a little bit on their heartstrings here a little bit and make them feel guilty about her maybe going home. So, okay, that was kind of a good play. But I definitely think that it was also a big mistake at the veto ceremony when both of them basically said, like, do whatever's best for your game. And what did Austin say? Austin said something like, I'm sure one of them said, do whatever's best for your game. And the other person said something.
I think that was Austin. Yeah, that was Austin.
That I'll still be friends with you after this or something like that. And I'm just like, no.
You need to be like, I fully expect you to use this on me. And if you're smart, like, it's a plea. You need to be like, you need to realize that, you know, I have your back, and you know, if I stay on the block, I'm going home, and you need to use it on me, and we can do this together. Like, plea with that person. You know what I mean? Just, what are you doing? Just the lack of ability to play games. And I'm very disappointed in Austin. I really thought she had more skill set than she does.
It was the whatever you do, I will respect your decision. It's like, actually, no, I won't. I'm like, if you don't use it on me, I will not respect your decision. It's like, it's just, I wouldn't.
I mean, don't bully someone, but at the same time, you need to be like, no, like, well, like, show them why. And in this moment, people can change their mind at any second. So, I mean, you know, and they should have been playing that right from the get-go, but they're playing a scared, I'm not really doing anything game. And it's just, again, I'm sick of hearing myself talk about how much of a poor game they're playing. So I just didn't get it. And I think, you know, and then we find out he doesn't use it. And I think that's a big mistake too.
They gave him out. They should have like told them all the ways it's better for them to stay in the game, or for Austin. Austin should have been going to him and being like, we need to figure this out. We need to do this together. We're gonna like use this. It's not gonna be you. It's not gonna be me. Like, who are you protecting for? Like get him to at least tell you why he's not using it. Not be like, do whatever.
And Braden is like, oh, remember last week when he said to us that blah blah. I'm like, tell him that. Tell him that. Don't tell Austin that. Like, why aren't you talking? You know what I mean? So they don't complement each other as allies. They just get along. If you want a friend, like, you know, get one from your hometown. I mean, like, you need someone to compliment you, and they're not a good team because they both play the same lazy way that's not doing anything. You know, if someone's strategic and someone's really well liked, that's a good team. You know, you need to play off what your strengths are. And with Austin and Braden, I'm like, guys, do something, and nothing's happening.
Nothing.
And then Rohan makes a stupid move as well. And I'm like, oh, you know, if Kyle stayed, I mean, I bet you would have taken her off. So
that's pretty true. Pretty true. Yeah, I definitely feel as though they could have convinced him to use it.
And the thing is like, you know, yes, I know he didn't want to be a replacement, so he was scared of that, and that's why he wanted to win it. But it's like, they should have realized that as well, and they should have known he would have been going hard for it, and you needed to go that much harder. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't. None of it makes sense to me, and I cringe. The last 2 episodes cringe.
Okay, so BBan is asking you if you think that Ro is sensitive enough to be pushed to use the veto to avoid hurt feelings. I do. I'm like, I think you can see it when someone talks such a big game and they talk about how they're strategic and they'll make these game moves. I mean, that's usually such a big indicator for someone who plays emotionally and just doesn't want to admit it. And so it's all those subconscious things that you can be doing left, right, and center, like I said, and, you know, every step of the way they could be doing, and they just haven't with him. And if you really, like Victoria showed, you're in it, you're like fully supporting him, like, this is what we're doing together, and you felt like it was a team, Victoria wouldn't be putting you up, and Rohan would be saving you even if she did. And you failed with those relationships. You failed both times. So you not only didn't win HOH, you not only didn't win Veto, you failed at 2 relationships in that house for people who could kept you safe.
How the game's played, you know, being played, and where sides are right now should be on your side. So that's like 4 fails. Like, how many times? Like, what? Like, you know, you don't deserve to be there at that point. You know? I'm sorry.
Ouch.
And those are my people, and I like them.
Weird. It's true, though. So Austin and Braden are a showmans without the mans and no real strategy. Absolutely. They made a friendship. You kind of called it just a moment ago, Jonathan, saying that, like, they get along, but they're not good allies for each other because they're not helping each other's game. They're just giving somebody a person to vent. So yeah, you need a soundboard. You need to vent to somebody, but then take what you learn from the venting and go use it to your advantage to keep you in the game.
And they're young and they don't know that. Probably, like, you know, listen, I had friends in my 20s, and, you know, I realized that they were kind of keeping me or certain people along the way. We all have, where you realize that they're not pushing you as a person, and I need to be pushed as a person for growth and stuff like that. And so I really have held on to my friendships with people who do that for me. They're a good balance. They're my allies in life. And so when you are, how old are they? 20 something? Like, you don't have that life experience to really realize these things and then implement them into the house. So yeah, I would love to see people who have, you know, I would love a slightly older average age, because I would love to see people who, you know, they do younger because they think it's, you know, similar to who's watching. People of all ages watch, but also because they play more emotionally, you would think. But I would love a season where it's even just a little bit older, just so you can see a lot of life experience and strategy come into play. That might be excellent, you know?
Oh, I know. I definitely agree with you here that if they were a little bit older and had a little more life experience, they would be able to recognize some of these signs. Like, you know, the Victoria lying. It's very obvious that she's lying, but they've obviously never had many people lie to them before, or like caught people to lie, or watched even enough seasons of Big Brother to see like clear lying. So yeah, it would be really cool to see some more mature people play the game, because like, yeah, a lot of other strategy would come out. Even if they're not strategic people, life experience will be able to dictate a little bit better how people maneuver the house. So agreed. Hundo. So that's pretty much the episode. We got Braden and Austin staying up on the block. Who do you think is going to be going home?
Oh, 100% it's Austin.
Correct. I mean, I things could change. I heard that like a flip was kind of happening, but
Why would you waste a week on Braden? Like, why?
Exactly. I mean,
Can't even get the planks. Can't even do the planks. Like, why are you wasting a week on Braden now?
Well, I mean, it is the worry that he will either become a perpetual pawn and send people home, or just float his way to the end and maybe get
sure, and then not win at the end, or not even win anything. So I mean, it's like it just doesn't make sense, and I could see that later on being more of an issue, but we're still at that point where it's like Austin's a threat. There are several people on both sides who want her gone, so absolutely it's going to happen. It's unfortunate. I'm going to lose another member of my team and someone that I really liked and I thought had a lot of potential, but she had ample time to put it into play and she didn't. So
it's totally
rooting for you.
I know.
We're all rooting
for you. Rooting. Poor girl. I mean, she would be somebody that I would love to see in like 5 years if they do an all-star season, her comeback, life experience. She still is going to be good at competitions, and then maybe she's going to have that life experience that will be able to teach her a little bit more of the strategic side of the game. So that could be super cool to see her, how she blossoms into a better player. And Lana says they are always talking about a flip, but it never happens except week 1. It's true. It's true. It's true. I mean, I guess they're just weighing out the other option of like what it would be like if the other person stayed. But I think it's pretty locked in this week that Austin is the stronger person and the better person to go.
Yeah, which will put Braden in a really good position as well, because that's the best thing you can have is like if you're considered such a duo. I mean, that's harder to play within, but your person goes and there's still a lot of people in the house. You can figure that out. And maybe Victoria is going to be the Pied Piper of these duos breaking up and just like start collecting people and form her own alliance. But maybe, who knows? We'll see.
So lastly, one thing that I don't know if they will show, and I don't think we talked about it yet, is that Tara has been expressing some microaggressions towards Ty, especially. Just saying things like how messy he must be and that he wouldn't want to see what his house looks like, and just kind of cornering him and like saying things like she doesn't want to be left in a room with him because like she feels that he's intimidating and all the just things that are I don't think
like
accurate or fair. Pardon?
The only thing I saw was her complaining about Beth being messy, but what's her problem?
But like but in the house, she's actually like continuously complaining and saying things in that fashion about Ty. And so it is rumored that she got a speaking to by Big Brother about this. And so this is kind of what Natalie was mentioning here. So Taryn doesn't know if Tara was talked to by production by the comment she said about Ty and Jed. Yes. And so even Ty's mom apparently has been like covering his social media and is actually a little bit upset by the way that Tara is treating her.
But what comment? I mean, to me, I'm just hearing, if you don't like someone, you don't like someone. I'm like, say whatever the hell you want about them. I don't care. But was there a specific comment that was like crossing a line?
Well, I think the most of being like, oh, I don't want to be alone with him because he's intimidating. He intimidates me and he kind of scares me or whatever. Stuff like that. It's microaggressions, kind of like how Christmas was like, oh, I like so-and-so is going to be mad at me and she's going to like probably pull a gun on me. Like you just like, what has Ty done for you to feel as though he's going to do anything physically to harm you?
Yeah, I mean, without having a conversation with Tara, I would have no idea. So I won't speak on that. So I have no idea.
But anyway, so that's what's kind of been going on with her. Is apparently like the feeds are down for a day, and it might be because of the fact that she has been saying these things about Ty, and it's been a lot of people have been talking about it in the the live feeders, and I think it's not been a good look so far on Tara as to how she's been coming across to the people watching the live feed. So hopefully
y'all live feeders are harsh though. You're all harsh in general, like not about this particular subject. It's just I was looking up some stuff earlier today about some other previous years, and I'm like, ugh, everyone's so harsh on these people. These poor people are in a house and you don't know kind of fully what's going on, but I mean, like everyone hates. I mean, you see their true selves, but at the same time, it's like I think you would hate 99% of the people in this world if you saw what they truly are like.
Well, there's
But
also things
they
that she's
signed up for it. I'm
doing.
not talking about Tara. I'm just talking
It's
about
stuff
like people in
about
general in
like
life.
his like financially saying that he must not have any money and like just like I don't know. Just she seems to be targeting him a lot specifically about um, things that are not true about him, and it does
Why, like, where, and there was no rhyme or reason as to.
no
I
no.
mean, like I saw when she was talking about targeting them because of Kyle leaving. Like that's the only thing that I saw her say kind of on the show. Um, but it
I'll
was
find some
before
clips.
this, or it
I'll
was.
find some clips for you so you can have a
But was
better
it before that, or is she like holding a
after
lot of
that.
that aggression?
She honestly goes on about him a lot. Like, and I don't think it's warranted or fair, just like the things that she's saying. And like, he's actually been getting a little bit upset by it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone in that house is very like necessarily intimidating or scary or like
Exactly.
I mean, if anything, Josh would have freaked me out.
Lana says we are just observant. Yes, we are observant, Lana, as live feed watchers. We do watch it all and we do have judgments about it all because we want to know the full story and gather our own, all the information to make our own opinions. But she was doing the same thing with LaToya as well. Okay, I didn't see this part about LaToya. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't watch live feeds, so I have no idea.
Here is basically promoting bad stereotypes about Ty.
Mm.
That sucks. Well, hopefully
Get it together, Tara. Get it together.
she's not liked very, very much by anybody outside of the house at this point, unfortunately.
I think it's. I mean, I think I'm glad Big Brother said something to her as well because with many things, if people aren't aware of it, especially when it's televised, that's not necessarily fair to them. So I'm glad, and hopefully she realizes kind of what she's doing and reassesses the way she thinks about people. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, that is all that we have for you today. Thanks for joining me on the block today, Jonathan. Great having you. Are you working on anything you want to share with the peoples?
No. Although one of our big projects moved to like Europe or something, I'm very upset about it, and I think you know which one I'm talking about. The one I was excited about.
Oh man!
Mm-hmm. But we have like 3 more this week, so it's fine. But yeah.
So funny. Well, hopefully one of these new 3 ones are going to be your new favorite. And so if you haven't done so already, please, please, please subscribe to Reality Pop. It's going to be your new hub for all things reality TV. And I see somebody left a comment. It was a thank you from BBCan9. No, thank you, BBCan9. We love having you. Thank you, Lana. Thank you, Natalie. Everybody else in the chat. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow where joining me on the block is JoJo. Bye, Rylan. Bye, Jonathan.